Help me welcome our guest speaker, the Honorable Anthony Hylton.
Well, Mr. Chairman, colleague, parliamentarian, and former Minister of Youth and Culture and others, information and other things, and herself, a pioneer in this business. Members of the fraternity, members of the other agencies, ministries and agencies of government. I see representative from the Ministry of Tourism and Entertainment, and from JAIPO and my ministry and others. Leaders of the private sector, I see members from the president of the MSME Alliance, past and present, and other distinguished members in the audience. I really don't know if you understood what you were doing when you asked me to speak to you today, because I checked just before I spoke, and I am confirmed in saying that this is the first time a Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce has been asked to address one of your forum. And it speaks volume to me that you are thinking in the right direction, and certainly that we are in sync in what must be done in this space, in the music space. But more generally, I'll start by speaking broadly to the creative industries, which is a big part of this country's future, present and future. And I agree with you, Babsy, that notwithstanding the logistic hub and other things, this is a major growth agenda item. Music, entertainment, and the creative industries more generally. But before I touch my speech, I'm going to contextualize a few things. First of all, I think if we're going to move the music, we have to deal with some attitudes and some cultural baggages that continue to hamper the growth and development of the sector. I went to an event a couple months ago. It was a launch of an artist album. I'm not going to get to the more specific than that. And I was there at the invitation of one of the member of the management team. And when I was invited, I happily went because I, as a Minister of Industry, and given what my vision is for the sector, I want to be present at as many things as I can. So I went. So when someone from the media that was there saw me, they said to me, they asked me, "But Minister, what are you doing here?" And I said, "But that's a strange question." She said, "But you're not the Minister of Entertainment." I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "But what do you know about reggae music?" So I said, "But that's everybody's music." I don't understand the question. Anyway, she interviewed me on something, and the question, I think it's taped, and I may yet get that tape and play it a couple times to make the point that I'm about to make. That some of the attitudes is that the music belongs to a certain group of people. Let me assert that the music belongs to Ballad and Dread. It belonged to everybody. I go out further. I went to some fest, and I was at dance all night, very late in the night, early in the morning. And a group of people saw me, and they're like, "Minister, what you doing here?" And I said, "But it's my music too." And they were genuinely, I think, just really puzzled. And it tells me that the stereotype and the whole baggages and how we view our music ourselves does not yet understand that reggae music is a global music. It's no longer a little something that belonged to a few people. If it started in the ghettos in Trenchtown, it has long moved away from that. It's now global. And what I learned from that, from those questions and the reaction and things, was that our people, in their mindset, are not yet ready to grasp and have not yet grasped the fact that Jamaica, those in the past, and former Minister Grange went through some of that rich history, and I'm glad she did. I was very pleased to hear her speak knowledgeably and knowingly about some of those very important things. But I must make the central point, and as Minister I'm going to insist, that we as a people, and particularly those who are now, a number of those I must say, who are now in the business of recording and creating the music, need to understand the audience for which they are creating this music. It's a global audience. It's no longer a tiny, itsy-bitsy group of people, either in the ghetto of Kingston or any other ghettos, any other place in the world. The music is global. It's big business. It is both trade, it is commerce, it is investment. So, last point I'll make is that I recently, Minister Crawford and I went to France to a music festival. And again, the invitation, I decided to go because I view the music as big business. In fact, one of our biggest business, one of our biggest exports. And as a Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce, I intend to do all that I can to make sure that the music is understood to be an industry, that it is understood to be a tradable product, and that, like any other big business, it has to be properly regulated. And so, as I sat here this morning, I must tell you that I'm very pleased to have heard the reports from the various speakers. I want to commend the Jamaica Broadcasting Commission for stepping up and stepping into its role that it must play, that only it can play in the space. And the issues that it has addressed are fundamental to cleaning up the industry and making sure we have and treat this activity as a major business that it is. I want to commend the police. It is to make the point, to be able to make the statement that the JCF is the only police force in the region that has a unit dedicated to the enforcement of intellectual rights is not a small thing. And we need to recognize that. But I want to make one last point, following on the first point I made, which is that it is now well accepted thing that when you go to these festivals or these dances or music or these music places and stuff, that, and even in the music itself, that we continue to, there is a stream of consciousness or sub-unconsciousness that it is we, the musician, against government. That theme resonates all over the music. We need to be very, very careful in what we're doing and saying. And I'm hoping that at the end of this forum, that we begin to understand our different roles. The role for the creators of the music, the role for government, and the role for the public, the general public at large, including promoters and others, that is now being drawn into this whole scenario to make promoters and others understand that they have a responsibility in not just using the space that is created, but also to respect and uphold the rules and regulation affecting the space. So the conversation that I think needs to be had, the larger conversation that I think needs to be had, is one that is outside a little confine of persons believing that any one segment controls the music. The fact is that there is a role for different players in establishing and certainly in sustaining the music as the global asset that it now is. And it's in that context that I want to speak to a number of things that past government and this administration continue to do to build on the critical framework and to establish the environment that it is vital to the sustenance and the further development of the music. And I'll say to you that we live in a dynamic and exciting times. When the Jamaican brand is on the lips of the world for sport, for fashion, for food, for education, culture, and music. The protection of the Jamaican brand and the associated intellectual property rights is therefore of paramount importance to the government, and part of our urgent remit is the regulation of collective management organizations, CMOs, of which JACAP is one. This is necessary because copyright and related rights are the foundation on which creators of musical and other works are able to enjoy economic returns from the work they have created. The title of your forum, Understanding Copyright and Valuing the Rights of the Creators of Music, is well selected, as many of the infractions related to musical works are based on a lack of understanding and the inability or unwillingness to value the rights of the creators of music. In our society, a man on the street hustling music CDs does not believe that he is depriving the creator of the musical work of his economic benefits. In our society, an artist is paid handsomely to perform at a stage show, yet there is a lack of understanding on the part of the promoter and the artist that the creator of the musical work, which is the basis of the performance, deserves to be paid well for his creation. Think about it. Without the musical works, the performing artist does not exist. And without the performing artist, the show does not exist. And the promoter will have to find another way to earn his living. So this afternoon, I congratulate JACAP for staging this forum as part of its educational activities. designed to further the process of understanding and valuing copyright issues.